Joshua Tree. How long were you out there for?
I was out there just 3 days.
3 days. Oh, that's camping?
No, we got a house.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a lot different then. I thought you were like camping out there. I was like, fuck, it must have been like crazy hot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was still pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, I know. I'm in this group called the LA Beat Collective, and they
Mhm.
do like beat workshops every Friday night, and then
Like BEAT.
yeah,
Beat Collective. Oh, nice. What do you guys?
yeah, it's just like beat making workshops. So like you have like a time limit, and you just like make what you can, and then everybody listens afterwards.
Sick. Is it like a one-on-one thing? Like two people sit down, you guys make it within a certain amount of time, and then?
No, it's like as many people can come as they want.
Oh,
so
okay.
usually it's like between like 5 and 10 people.
That's rad.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they do like a retreat every 3 months.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's
Retreat, so
cool.
they just get everybody together,
Yeah.
have like a little.
Yeah, everybody brings their gear out, and then it's just like workshops all weekend. So I
Sick.
came out of it with like 8 new tunes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice. That's like what's the word like they use in Silicon Valley? Like a incubator,
Oh yeah.
like a sound incubator kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's rad, dude. Cool. I think we got everything going. Thanks for tuning in to the Block is Hot podcast, brought to you by the 900 Block. Today I've got my buddy Micah Smith.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Of course, my pleasure. You're with the Understated Collective, as everybody knows, one of the illest bunch of dudes and girls. You guys are killing it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You just got back from Joshua Tree. That was kind of separate. That was your own thing that you do with everything, or?
Yeah, that was with a separate group, but Nyad and then Andrew were both there, so it was a couple of the Understated family out with me.
Oh, okay. How was the tour?
Oh, the tour was insane. Yeah, we had a lot of setbacks. So the mechanic crashed our RV driving it out of the lot.
What? Like
Yeah.
right out the gate, right when you guys were taking off, or?
Yeah, like he was pulling. So I stood back to like take a video. It's like, the RV's working, it's driving off the lot, and then like the back of the RV got caught on the fence, and he just kept driving,
Damn.
and it just like ripped the whole back off.
Of the RV.
Yeah,
Jeez, was it a rental or is it someone's RV?
no, it was Ejax's.
It was each.
So he was fixing it all night and into the morning, and
For you guys for the tour.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and then
good.
it got to be like noon, and it still wasn't. It was like just barely getting done.
Damn.
By that point, it was too late, so we just got in cars and head up there.
Oh, you guys
And
left
then-
the RV. Yeah, I mean, what did you expect
Yeah.
it for me to smooth tour right out of the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yeah, but then my car got broken into in San Francisco, and
Get outta here.
Yeah, Tommy's laptop got stolen. My backpack with all my clothes got stolen.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then Zach's transmission broke down on the way to Santa Barbara.
What?
Yeah, and then at the tour closing party, Andrew's car got broken into as well.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's wild. There was a whole bunch of shit going on outside of
Yeah.
just a tour. I mean, it's hard to like focus on that when you got all that going on too, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, you guys had 5-star. You did the live stream. Where was that out
Yeah.
of?
That was at Gal's place in
Oh,
downtown
that was the
LA.
place you were telling me about that you guys like booked the Airbnb and you guys were having that.
No, that was on Monday. We did the party. We did like a little radio up show.
Oh, okay.
live
So
stream
that was
to kick
completely
it
separate
off.
from the tour. Got it.
Yeah, but then we did like a little Memorial Day get together. We just rented a house. And
Yeah.
just had a little fun.
Damn.
Yeah.
The tour, how is it that like you guys got together and each of you like just were like, hey, we should do, or one person kind of proposed like, hey, let's do the tour? Because I mean, with a collective that has as many people as you guys do, I'm sure that's not easy to kind of coordinate.
Yeah, it kind of all came together like very quickly. We got asked to do the Desert Hearts takeover in Santa Barbara. And then right around that time, I watched The Dirt on Netflix,
Yeah.
and it got me thinking about touring and getting on the
Nice.
road and getting a little wild. So
It got really wild, apparently.
yeah. So that was a big inspiration. And then it was right around the same time that we had our Pattern Bar show.
Mm-hmm.
So we already had 2 nights, and then I was like, well, let's just kind of put feelers out in different cities.
Yeah.
And we had been in talks with Space Taco for a little while to make it happen. We had been talking to a couple of our San Francisco-based artists
Yeah.
about coming up there for a show. So it kind of just as soon as we had this idea, it was just
Mhm.
like all hands on deck. Like,
Yeah, everyone came together for it because you guys had a bunch of artists involved too. So was it like you had a couple people that were like set for the SF gig, a couple people for Santa Barbara, a couple people? Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's an easy way to curate it.
Yeah. And then it was great. I mean, we went up to SF, and then a couple of our artists, Raid Zero and Jovan, they both ended up like buying plane tickets from LA to SF, and they were like, we want to come down and hang out on the tour and see what LA is all about.
Nice.
So
That's good. Everybody gets integrated with each other. Everybody kind of helps each other out.
Yeah.
Damn, and you guys had all that shit going on with people's cars breaking into.
Yeah.
It's like keeping focus must have been like vibes are all over the place, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
we just we tried to roll with the punches, and
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
we had like all the resources in the world, with our combined networks and
Yeah,
all
of
these
course.
different cities. So, once the RV thing fell through, like our buddy up in SF was like, "Yeah, you guys can all stay on my place, like
Nice.
no worries." So we made it work, and then we ended up just getting a hotel in Santa Barbara so that some of our group could stay up there. So we made it work as best we could.
Yeah, that's good, man. I mean, having that many people involved again. How many people were like? Were there a couple of people that were there like for every stop, or were you just like kind of assigning people like, hey, you guys are gonna be out there, we'll come up there?
Yeah, some of it, most of us. I would say so. It was like myself, Zach, Mike, Brooke, Nyad, and Tommy Garcia. We did everything. We all drove out together, and then also Ariane and Emily, who recently joined our team.
Okay.
And then Menglin met us up in Santa Barbara. The SF guys came down and spent most of the week with us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
That's
and then we, the party in LA was the house party was just, hey, everybody that's affiliated with us in any way, like, come bring a stick, and we'll do our best to get everybody on.
That was after the tour?
That was like halfway through.
Halfway through. That was one that you were telling me about. Oh, was that the to be announced one that you had in LA? Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so we it was a little bit last minute, and we decided to just word of mouth it, but I mean, it was great. We started at 3 p.m. and we ended up playing music till 7 a.m.
Damn.
Yeah.
At an Airbnb?
Yeah.
How does it work? Because I know with Airbnbs, there's a lot of times they're just like, they're very kind of particular with the amount of people they have. I'm sure there's like you guys had to have had a specific kind of Airbnb.
Yeah, it like advertised it as like, this is a good party house.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah.
Airbnb like advertised as a party house. Do they have it like on a scale of like amount of people that can come, or is it like just as big as it gets? You're like,
it was like there was like beds everywhere. Like all the rooms had like 2 or 3 beds, and there was like beds out in the living room. So
so they set it up for like a party house.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was like this long hallway in the front, and then the main room was in the back with like this outdoor courtyard that kind of absorbed all the sound. So like
interesting.
We were bumping, and you couldn't even hear it from out in front.
Nice. That's rad. Well, that's cool, man. It sounds like you guys, I mean, it's a wild time, but it's a good time. I mean, you guys did it. I mean, again, setting up a tour is super tough, especially trying to find like promoters or clubs or whatever it is in other cities that want to work with you, because I know a lot of places they're kind of particular about who they want to bring out.
Yeah, it was the one that was really tough to lock in was SF.
Yep.
We were in talks with like 4 different venues before eventually Hawthorne said yes.
Yeah.
But I think we planned it also with very little lead time, so we didn't.
So you kind of just made it happen when you could, yeah.
Yeah, but we're already in talks about planning the next one, and we're gonna do like all of California.
Nice.
Go down to like OC and San Diego as well.
Yeah.
And try to do it a little more proper with some rest time in LA in between.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, setting up SF, I've heard is a pretty like tough city. I don't know if it's because they're trying to like keep their scene a certain way, or they're trying to like not really bring too many people from LA out. But we same with us with the 900 block. We've hit up a few people about getting something set up in SF, and it's just the deals just don't make sense. You know what I mean? And there's only so much that we're willing to kind of like compromise for us to like want to go up there. But yeah, I like the idea of you guys doing something all over California.
Yeah, and SF is a little tough too with everything that happened with like the ghost ship fires. They kind of cracked down really hard on the underground scene up there a couple of years ago. And
how long ago was that?
I think that
those
was
fires.
it was right after we started our brand, so like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that was a big thing. That, damn, what was it? Was it like just there was no like the evacuating was not properly set up in the venue or something, or did it just like?
Yeah, it was like
too many people.
Yeah, it was a combination of those. There was like too many people in there. Like there wasn't enough emergency exits. They didn't have like a sprinkler system, and the electricity was also like really shoddy. Everything about it was like not up to code.
Yeah.
Not only not up to code, but they didn't. From what I've heard, the ownership like didn't really care about the safety of the people there and wasn't involved with.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It's like, I mean, as someone who like, let's say for like the promoters that night or the people that were attending, it's kind of out of their hands. There's only so much they can do. So, I mean, again, that kind of puts us in a tough position as like promoters and DJs and stuff to like get involved with places you trust, people you trust. I mean, obviously with EJAGS is like a perfect example of someone who people are close to. Like we know him more than just him as like a person who has a venue. He's like a good person who actually cares about how his place is set up. The electricity, the lighting, everything is kind of like up to code, but again, if it's out of your hands, there's really not so much you can do.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's important to like, really choose people that are concerned with the well-being and not just looking to make a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many people.
There's
so many people, and there's a lot of people that have spaces that are willing to rent them out that don't really understand all the risks involved and don't take those steps to manage the risk.
Yeah. But a lot of people, they'll just they like the idea of what is happening in their space. Like they want to have a venue that they can kind of have successful parties or big collectives come and host, and they're just they set everything up kind of shoddy. So. Yeah, I mean that puts a lot of people at harm. It's tough, man.
Yeah, I mean one of the reason why I was first even attracted to EJAC space in the beginning is, I've been to a lot of warehouse parties and they always felt a little sketchy. You feel like you're gonna get stabbed on the way in, or you feel like you're gonna step on a rusty nail or something like that, and it just didn't have that feel. It felt
Do you think that was part of the appeal originally going into it? Because I feel like everybody, that was kind of the word underground tied in with when you get in there and you're like, damn, this is kind of this is not an above ground club. This is a little more.
Yeah, I think people are attracted to danger in some sense, but as a promoter, it's important to you want to still have that gritty underground feel, but you want to make sure that nobody's actually at risk.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, that's another one of those things where there's only so much you can do. I mean, you're obviously, as a good promoter, you're going to do everything you can to kind of keep it contained and keep it safe, but people kind of tend to take things overboard. Luckily, I think as far as in LA, from what I've seen from both of our parties and even our close promoter friends, not too much has gone bad as far as people kind of, of course, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, do you think that's I mean, I've touched on it a couple times as far as safety of people and how people kind of tend to kind of get too wild.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a progression with each person individually that comes into the music scene that's they start at coming into the underground, they try to get kind of wild, and then you kind of get used to it and you're like, okay, I can kind of pump the brakes a little bit for myself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was that for myself a little bit too. I mean, I was fucking wild. When I first started throwing parties, I would I would do all the things.
Yeah.
And I saw that as the badge of honor, being able to party harder than anybody around me. And now I realize, I look back on that and I realize how much harm I was doing to myself, and I wasn't there for the right reasons at first.
Hindsight is kind of scary sometimes, especially with us staying out all night. I mean, obviously everybody has their day to day, and then the freaks come out at night kind of thing, where people go to shows or go to underground spots, go to clubs, and they're kind of this is my opportunity to kind of let it all out. But I don't think they do it in the right way. Like you're saying, you kind of caught yourself in that bad loop where you were trying to party harder than everybody else, and then you kind of caught yourself, which is good, and I'm happy for you, which is fucking great. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel a lot better too.
Yeah, I've been keeping it pretty tame recently, and getting back into exercise and taking care of really taking care of my body and what I put into it, food and otherwise.
Yeah, eating a lot healthier.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of meal prep stuff, or you kind of just?
Not as much, but I used to live off fast food. It was every morning sausage McMuffin with egg, hash browns, and a large iced coffee, and every day for many years. And I switched to just avocado toast and a green smoothie, and already just that little shift.
Yeah,
was,
totally, of course.
Instant results.
How old are you?
29.
20. Oh, perfect. Yeah, you're at a good age to kind of catch it, because a lot of bad habits, I feel for some people, they kind of form late as opposed to forming early. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think the benefit of us, in our industry specifically, is we get wild when we're young. People, they turn 21 even before they turn 21. They're able to go to underground parties because it's not really as strict, and they get wild, they get crazy, they burn themselves out, and then by the time you get to 27, 28, 29, you're kind of okay, cool, I'm good. I've done everything. I've gone as hard as I can for the last couple of years. I can kind of start focusing on myself. So that's good, man. That's good. What kind of exercising do you do?
I run on the treadmill for an hour every morning, and then I lift a little bit of weights.
For an hour?
Yeah.
Fuck. I hit 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Couple miles in, and I'm straight. My cardio is not where it needs to be, but that's a whole
It's tough. I'll pick a mix that's around that length, and I'll just listen to the mix.
Yeah.
And I'm also it's I'm kind of digging for tunes at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's, as long as you set that intention of I want to do this amount of time, kind of just get into a groove.
Yeah, you get into a groove for sure. Nice.
Yeah.
Health is first and foremost, I think, and there's a lot of health issues with people in the industry, a lot of things that people are kind of scared to touch on. So, I mean, that's why I want to have people on who want to talk about stuff like that, and we're not afraid, because that's equally as important.
Yeah, and also, I mean, sleep I think is also honestly the biggest factor.
Yeah.
And I used to I'd go out and go to a show till like 6 a.m. and then schedule like a tutoring clients at like 10 a.m. in the morning, and then just
Damn.
I would just kind of, my baseline was like getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep on the weekends. And that really caught up to me bad.
Yeah, of course.
My mind kind of started to like unravel about 4 or 5 months, about 6 months ago, for a couple months, and then I just hit a wall, and I moved back home with my parents, and just I went completely sober for a while, and
Nice.
just.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's good. I mean, your mind, when you're saying like your mind unravel, is it just kind of something that naturally happened because of the lack of sleep, because of the lifestyle, because of the drinking, because of all that?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was crazy. I was like having hallucinations that the devil was talking to me. I didn't know, I kind of lost all sense of reality. And I didn't really even know who I could call, who I could trust. I didn't even feel comfortable picking up the phone and calling my best friends or my parents.
Yeah. And that's just something that just happened naturally because of the sleep deprivation and everything. Huh? It's crazy how the mind does that.
Yeah, and I let myself on like a 5 or 6 day solo bender at home by myself, and then that was kind of like the breaking point for me.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes maybe you got to go through that breaking point to kind of get through the other side.
Yeah.
But you did it. You got through the other side, and I'm sure there's more people that you can't trust than you would think, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have us. You have all your crew, the people you're going on week-long tours all over the city dealing with like cars getting broken into and shit. I mean, that's the community. That's what we're trying to build,
Yeah.
And I think you guys got a crazy solid team.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course, you guys are like our brothers in the scene. So it's nice to see you guys trying shit out. I mean, it's not obviously it's not gonna go fucking perfectly well all the time, but you guys actually get to say that you did it. You set up a tour. You got all that shit done. You did it together.
Yeah. And I think it was a good milestone for us. And
absolutely.
A big learning experience as well.
What do you think? What did you take away the most? You think, or collectively, what did you guys think that?
Really, for me, that it's not all like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
And that there's, it's like dozens of hours going into the planning of this, and the logistics are not simple. It gave me so much more respect for these artists that are and their management who are planning these several month tours where they go to multiple countries, and that was very eye opening. But we're gonna approach the next one with a lot more of that in mind. Yeah,
of course. I mean, you have the experience now of having this on your belt. But yeah, I mean, I've seen artists that set up tours that it's like literally every day of the month, and they're flying across the country. So I mean, for them, if we want to talk about getting sleep the proper way, that just I don't know how they do it. I mean, again, I'm not an artist, so I can't really say I can put myself in their shoes to kind of know the energy level that goes into it. But that's got to take some sort of willpower.
Yeah, and I think it takes a big chunk out of you.
I
think it takes a big chunk out of you, regardless of
I mean, traveling alone. Yeah.
That's also another thing that would probably be tough of it is being alone and the solitude over that extended time, and you're around all these people that you don't know, but people that want to talk to you and hang out, and then the tour just ends, and you're like, whoa, this is going back to real life. Is even for us, just after a week, it was weird not being with the whole crew 24/7.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing how it happens with festivals and stuff when you go set up camp for 3 days and you're around a huge group of people and you guys stay up all night and stay up all day and party together, and then everybody goes home and you kind of get that oh, what a weird feeling, I'm not with everybody and it's not the same. And I think that plays a big role in people having kind of that not FOMO, but that deprivation feeling for themselves. And I think that's kind of what plays into them wanting to kind of go a little bit harder, is they feel oh, I'm not at that level, or that my dopamine levels aren't that high because I'm at home and it's quiet and there's not much going on.
Yeah, but I've been also taking the time to meditate every day and kind of slow my thoughts down, and that's helped a lot.
Nice. What kind of meditation do you just kind of sit there?
Just sitting quietly and focusing on my breathing.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into a little more the yoga-based meditations and Kundalini and that kind of stuff.
What's that? What's Kundalini?
Kundalini is it's one of the more spiritual forms of yoga, where it's a big emphasis on breathing and sitting still.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chanting involved as well.
Nice. Is that something that they do, they try to integrate into festivals kind of thing, or is that more of a private kind of?
Yeah, I've seen it at festivals that festivals that are more heavy on the yoga will usually have 1 or 2 Kundalini workshops when they're there.
Sick. Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to get into I don't know if it's my ADHD levels are too high. I don't know what it is, but sitting still is something that's so tough to do. I need to work on it for sure. I mean, obviously sitting there and I've kind of, there was a quote I read in, like, I think it was like in some book, like back in high school or something, where like meditating isn't so much just kind of sitting there and trying to not say anything, but it's just sitting there, and if you think, you think. If you focus on your breathing, you focus on your breathing. If you're blank, you're blank. Whatever it is, but just sitting there, eyes closed, or, you know, whatever it is for 20 to 30 minutes or whatever. How long do you usually do it for?
Usually 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah, that's like the
I try to do 20 minutes in the morning and night, but sometimes it's just morning.
Okay. I mean, as long as you get it in at some point, I think it's good for your brain, because then you're actually, you're in your own head. And that, I think, if people alone need that so that they can kind of center themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You felt it, though, like a little more centered, a little more like fine-tuned with yourself, because you can kind of think of, you know, everything you need to for yourself.
Yeah, and I think of it, a lot of it is like kind of just detaching from your thoughts. You're not necessarily trying to silence them. You know, and it's like you got these thoughts flying away in your head, but you sit there and you breathe and you realize, okay, this thing that's been stressing out is not the end of the world. And I'm right here in this moment. I'm just taking the time to be with myself. Yeah,
self-soothe kind of thing. That's good. I mean, I hope more people kind of take from this to like do that for themselves. You know, it's okay to be silent. It's okay to be away from the constant music and the constant energy, and that, I mean, that's
it's tough. It's tough when especially when we're surrounded by all that stimulation all the time.
Mm-hmm. People do it. People are more involved, because there are people that I see that are at like every fucking show, everything. And I mean, there's I think a level of responsible partying that people need to kind of take for themselves. And I think as like a community of people, because with us, what we're trying to do together with, you know, other people that are kind of wanting the same thing, is to kind of help everybody out with that, with the responsible partying.
Yeah, absolutely. And my standard now is like, you know, I'll never just look for a party to go out to anymore. You know, if it's something that I really want to go to, if like, you know, if a crew that I really fuck with is like throwing the show, or if we have like, you know, somebody that I'm friends with is playing, then I'll go out and support. But I'm not just like going out for the sake of going out anymore.
Yeah, it used to be. When we started, it was literally that. It's like, hey, what's going on tonight? Regardless of whether it was something we wanted to do, the focus was more on like, let's black out, borderline. Let's just go out and get done. And again, I think it's trials and tribulations where we did that early to kind of get it out of our system, because we didn't understand what we were doing. We didn't understand the scene. We didn't understand the music. We didn't understand the community. So that path, even though, I mean, it sucks to say, because I think that people need to go through that to get to that like enlightenment for themselves. Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't think I would have reached the point where I'm at now if I hadn't had those experiences. But I mean, now, you know, I used to look at blacking out as like a good thing. Yeah. It's like, I blacked out last night. Like I threw up 4 times. Like, and I thought it was like a badge of honor. It's like, I'm a badass. Like I can party.
Yeah. And you felt like shit for like 2 days.
Yeah, at least 2 days.
Yeah. Oh man, that used to be like the baseline. Like just go and black out. And if you didn't black out, you didn't drink enough.
Right.
But then you're spending way more money than you need to for shit that's fucking up your body, fucking up your system, fucking up your mind state. Yeah. You're not sleeping as well. Yeah. Your thoughts aren't as clear. You're always foggy.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I think now like my standard is like I don't want to put anything into my body that's going to like kill my brain cells. Yeah. You know, so like alcohol and Coke and
Egg
those
McMuffins.
Kind of things. Yeah, Egg McMuffin, all those things like that are kind of really just poison or like things to avoid. Yeah. You know, I'm like open to like using some psychedelics and using a little bit of weed here and there.
Yeah,
you know?
sparingly.
I'm currently like on a break from all that, but you know, moving forward, I think that's kind of what my intention is to only put substances into my body that open the mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I mean, I feel like when you do that, you're able to kind of control it too. Even like the high that you get from it, because you feel like, okay, I know that I'm doing this and I'm going to do it for this specific event that I want to go to, and you kind of set yourself up for success. Yeah. Otherwise, you're kind of just fucking doing it however you are, and then you can't even see straight by the end of the night. Yeah. Do you think it's like something that's, what is it about? What do you think it is about that like badge of honor? Like that's like a reverse thing. I feel like there should be more emphasis on having a badge of honor of not doing that.
Yeah, being able to
being able to like hold back from doing that.
You know, I think it's a little bit of like a cultural thing. I think they don't have quite as much of that in like the UK and Europe, because alcohol, you know, here alcohol you can't drink till you're 21. Right. So like you go away to college and you're like, oh, this is the first time I'm away from my parents. I'm gonna fucking do. It's almost like an act of rebellion. Yeah. You know, and
sure.
like in a lot of European countries, like people, when they're 15, 16, will like have a glass of wine when they go out with their parents for dinner, and
totally.
it's like no big deal. So so it's not like this thing that you're like sitting around waiting to do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, I grew up overseas in like Europe and Lebanon, and 14, 15, 16-year-olds, it's kind of, again, it's you start young, so you kind of get it into your system, so it's not something that you're so eager to kind of like abuse. And you're just like, hey, it's something that's been kind of natural. I've done it. I've been doing it for a long enough time. Like, I'm good. Like, I can kind of take it easy. I can kind of take it slow.
Yeah, I mean, I look back on like my college days, and it's like, oh, there's no, here's a Sunday, then we have nothing to do. Like, let's drink 30 beers each and watch stupid TV.
Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
UCLA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something that's embedded in that school for sure.
Yeah, so it was a lot of just drinking because we were bored and didn't have anything better to do. And I look back on, all the time wasted, and we had fun, but we weren't really like bettering ourselves. And I think it held me back in school a lot.
Yeah. What did you study?
I was undeclared for 3 years, and then just partying all the time.
Yeah.
And so I dropped out for a little bit, and then I came back as a part-time student, and I was music history.
Music history, and you met Andrew there.
That's where I met
He
Andrew,
went to UCLA studying music as well?
Yeah, we were in the same major.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same classes?
Yeah, our department was very small, so it was like most of the people take all the same classes.
Yeah, and did Understate like come out of that kind of thing, or like just the relationship first?
A little bit. I also minored in music industry, so I learned a little bit about like social media marketing. Andrew learned a lot. Andrew did a bunch of label internships while we were in school.
Yeah, totally.
So we were planting the seeds for that for sure. And then he introduced me to Menglen, and then I didn't really know Zach all that well at the time when he was at UCLA, but Mike.
Oh, Zach went to UCLA as well.
Yeah, but Mike and I were very close. So
Frazier.
And Zach was managing our old DJ project.
Got it.
Yeah, so after we got out, like a year after after me and Andrew graduated, I think Zach graduated a year before, but a year after Andrew and I graduated, Understated was kind of coming into
the fruit of that.
Yeah, it was starting to form, and then, we kind of brought the whole crew together mostly from UCLA. So it was cool. So we've always kind of, had a good relationship with like the dance community at UCLA and with the radio station there and all that.
How was the dance community at like a college like that? Was it like mostly house music based, or was it just like a thriving party scene and it kind of like you guys picked up from that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Like like the EDM club at UCLA is like has always been like very active. They hosted Richie Houghton's Control event a few years back. They hosted they do an event called Message and a Melody on campus where Justin J played.
So they kind of got an idea and a grasp of like the scene, the current music, the artists, stuff like that. Got it.
When I was first in school, when I was a full-time student and just kind of dicking around, I wasn't really as linked up with any of those crews, but all my buddies from my frat, we'd all go out to like EDC and TAO and Audio Autistic. We'd go out to like all the big festivals. Yeah. But it was a little bit different when I came back around because this dance music community had really started to kind of consolidate on campus. For sure.
Yeah, it's wild how it's like, I feel like, again, people at like our age level, we all started with like the EDCs, the TAOs, the Beyond Wonderland, How Sweet It Is, stuff like that. Like that's a whole nother era, I think, of like rave scene, because those are like raves. And then now people, I think, that are like starting to come into the community are going to like the Dirty Birds and the Desert Hearts, so they're getting a whole different experience and like introduction into the scene.
Yeah, it's very, very different culture, I would say.
Yeah.
I think that like Insomniac and all those parties are kind of a little more about the spectacle.
Yeah, for sure.
And a little
they got
bit less
the finances to kind of like put it on for the general public.
Yeah, and a little bit less about the community. But then going to Desert Hearts and Dirty Bird after having experienced all those other bigger ones, I kind of was what first inspired me, like, oh no, this is a little bit more about like forming a genuine community of people that are going to like actually be friends when the show's over and continue on. And I never really felt like that at like an EDC.
Yeah, I mean, EDC, the only time you felt that like communities is with the people that you were with. I mean, obviously you would run into kind of people that you would know, and everybody's eyes are all over the place, and everybody would be in passing. But yeah, I agree that whole like sense of community you never felt from a party like an Insomniac. I mean, How Sweet It Is, I think, was not even as big as an EDC. Obviously, EDC is like the biggest one of them all. But yeah, that sense of community is not there, and you just go and you party and you do the Molly and you do the whatever it is that everybody did back in the day, and it changes because your tastes mature.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, people coming into the scene now are lucky because they're getting a more community-based rising of events that weren't around when we first started getting into the music scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I always saw EDC as kind of like that stepping stone for people to like,
that's a badge of honor. You went to
Right.
the old school EDCs.
Yeah, and I saw it as like a stepping stone of like, they're kind of bringing people a little deeper into the underground.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, something like a Dirty Bird and a Desert Hearts is kind of like, the next step. And then what we try to do with our crews is like, we kind of try to be that next step below where we're a little more on the underground side and just kind of letting people kind of slowly come on in.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people I think that we alone are introducing to the scene, to the underground scene, and that's good because our goal is to build the community for people to kind of get the good music because we know we put out what we like, which a lot of things like I guess EDC they don't do. They put out whatever they can book, whoever sells tickets, whatever is the name, whatever is popping right now at the time. Like, and I get it. I mean, for something that scale, there's only so much of a community you can build with. I mean, how many people are even in attendance at EDCs? Hundreds of thousands? That's fucking wild. That's a city.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I was speaking of cities, I was talking to Marie Nix recently about Burning Man.
Oh, yeah. I was
yeah, look at this. You smiled it up on that one. I know you're a huge fan of the Burning Man scene, and you're part of the Nuts Camp, which is, again, with EJAG. So it's like that community is so well-knit that everyone's kind of helping each other build something that's a bigger picture.
Oh, absolutely. And there was... I begged EJAX to bring me to the Burn the first time, and he was like, I don't know, like, we don't really bring, like, I was like, they had been going for 15 years altogether, the same group, and, I was like, by far the youngest person, and I guess a little bit of a wild card, and it's like, out in the desert, like, you have to worry about, like, people staying alive.
Yeah, totally.
So, there was a little bit of, like, resistance, and then, I was kind of hanging out at his spot a lot, and then started throwing parties, and the relationship like developed a little bit. And then one day I see him at a party. He's like, "Dude, you're going to the Burn. Like, here you go," and just like handed me 2 tickets.
Nice.
Yeah.
You kind of like earned your stripes, kind of thing. I mean, that's great of him that's great of him to kind of like care enough to like be like, hey, like this is not something that you can just come to. Like you got to be careful for yourself. And then once he kind of saw that you kind of had a better grasp on things, he was like,
Yeah, and I mean, it's, and it's like we didn't even really realize it at the time, but Understated is kind of like cut out of like the cloth that is Nuts Camp. Like, that kind of communal vibe and like everybody looking out for each other and taking care of each other, like comes right from Nuts. Like, all the people that work at EJAG's venue are all part of our camp. It's very much a community affair. And so we were kind of putting that ethos into what we were doing before we actually got out there.
Totally. Yeah, you it was there before it even happened kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once I got out to the Burn, I was like, oh, this is fucking home.
Yeah. How many have you been to?
This is going to be my 3rd one this year.
3rd one.
Yeah.
I'm skipping this year. I think I'm going to go for next year. I feel like it's one of those things where, I mean, it's coming up in August, so I don't even think June, July, 2 months is enough time to prep for something like that.
Yeah, you need to be preparing from, like, the day it ends for the next year.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of planning that goes into it. We were so underprepared our first year. We ran out of food on, like, Wednesday.
What happens when that happens? I mean, obviously, like, I know you have everybody around to kind of want to help you out, but...
Yeah, I mean, if you're not with, like, a big camp, like, you got to go home when you run out of supplies. People around you will kind of help you for a little bit, but, like, to, like, sustain you for, like, the whole week. Like, we were really lucky. I told DJags I was thinking about going home. He's like, no, that's nonsense. Like, let me be back in a second. He talked to everybody in the camp, and he's like, all right, like, you guys can knock on everybody's RV door like one time this week, and each person will give you 1 meal.
That's awesome. Dude.
Yeah, so
that's community.
Yeah,
that I think the Burning Man is a whole nother level of. That's maybe one of the only extra large size festivals that's able to maintain that communal vibe because people kind of know like, hey, we're out there, and it's like do or die kind of thing. Like you got to help each other out when you can. Obviously, like you're not going to feed a mouth for 2 weeks that you didn't anticipate taking care of. Yeah,
but I mean, you kind of have to take, you do what you can when you're out there to help people. Like,
of course.
I was some girl, like, last year we were at the Burn, and we had, she had been partying at our camp, like, earlier in the week, and we saw her, like, riding by, just, like, all kinds of haggard. She didn't have, like, a backpack or a water bottle or anything on her, and I was, like, sitting out in front of camp, and I was just like, hey, like, do you, like, need some water or something? Like, and she was like, yeah, that'd be great, and, like, we brought her into our tent, like, she hadn't eaten in 3 days, like, she didn't bring like any vinegar to like clean her dust off her shit, like anything like that. So we like, you know, we sent her home with like a little goodie bag, and like, you know, we gave her some you know, some granola bars. We gave her like, you know, a jug of water.
Yeah.
We gave her like a bottle of vinegar to clean her shit with, and
best
you
of
know,
luck.
it's like, you got it. And then she was like, I can't pay you back for this. We're like, no, don't pay us back. Like, just next time you come back, like, do the same for somebody else that's in need.
Yeah, that's good. What's the vinegar thing? You clean yourself off with the vinegar?
Yeah, so like the playa dust is like alkaline, so it like sticks to everything.
Got it.
And you know, if it's like sticks on your feet too long or your hands like too long, like, you know, your skin will just kind of start to like not like rotting off, but like your skin will start to get all cracked and bloody and really gnarly.
Good Lord.
You know, so you clean off with you know, with vinegar. Vinegar's an acid, so it cuts it cuts down the dust. Because if you just put water on it, it like turns into like this paste.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, again, this just plays a part into like how organized and how much you can't just go out there and like EDC. You can just go and fucking lose your mind for 3 days, and you'll have your friends kind of take care of you. You can buy food. You can do whatever. You go home and you're fine. Like Burning Man, like you gotta go there. You gotta go there ready.
You gotta go there ready. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I've even seen people that like, you know, didn't bring enough socks, and by the end of it, like their feet are just all like blistered up from wearing sweaty socks all week. You know, it's like all these little things. You know, and it's also, you know, you're not there for a weekend. You're there for at least 7 days. You know, usually little, like, you know, I went there for 12 days last year because I did build. So it's a, you know, it's a little bit more of a marathon than a sprint.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it like when you guys build? Is it people go? Do they allow people to come in before like the official start, and you have to be like a part of the camp to build it? And then the Nuts camp, is it like you guys build stage and sound setup?
Yeah, stage and sound, and each camp gets like a certain number of work access passes, so you can come early.
So you get a certain amount of people too to help you out with that. Got it.
So yeah, I mean, our setup wasn't too crazy. I mean, we had like a bathroom shower area, and then we have like our dance floor and our stage structure. So the setup wasn't too crazy, but it's a whole different feel out there during setup versus during the main event.
I mean, how do you even know, like, when I feel like it just starts, and because the city, it's like a city, it's the third largest city in Nevada when it's going on, like, and I mean, I was talking with Tiffany, and she was saying you can't see the whole thing while you're out there.
Yeah, no, you can't.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Because you just look, and like you go out at night and you just look in like any direction, and
there's just everything going on, right?
Yeah.
Saloons and
you have like little bars. You have like games and activities to play in. Like, I mean, there was like a nude marathon that was like happening, and it's just like
tight.
I see like 200 naked people. All of them, the only thing they're wearing is like the number tags for the marathon.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like an actual marathon,
it was
like they
full marathon.
Damn. Shit people come up with.
There was some like wild stuff, and you know, and there's like this like, you know, long running joke of like Daft Punk is gonna be playing at the Trash Fence this year.
Okay.
So like this past year, somebody actually built a Daft Punk at the Trash Fence installation. So there was like this pyramid in a DJ booth with 2 helmets. It's just a button that says push for dance parties. You put the Daft Punk helmets on, and it plays 20 minutes of Daft Punk.
Tight.
And then there's bleachers filled with like, they had like this dildo decorating party.
I'm sorry, one more time? You want to say that closer?
They had a dildo decorating party at the beginning of the week.
Dildo decorating party.
And everybody drew faces and put clothing on these dildos, and then the whole they had these bleachers that were filled with dildos watching, and the whole thing was like, you know, it was a great show, but the audience was a bunch of dicks.
Oh, that's so clever.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So dildo decorating party, and then bleachers set up, and that's your audience. It's just a bunch of dildos.
It's a bunch of dicks, and like there's all these like super meta kind of jokes embedded in jokes.
Right. That's so cool.
As you go on over the years, it's like you kind of learn a little more of these things that have been kind of permeating around as jokes, and then people actually start acting on them. And
that's so funny.
Yeah.
How many dildos does it take to fill up a bleacher?
Oh, dude, it was like several hundred at least.
Good God. Someone's just traveling in a car, they get pulled over. Like, what do you got in the back? Open it up. Just a bag of 100 dildos. Yeah. All shapes and sizes and colors and shit. Did you decorate any?
Huh, I didn't. I didn't find this installation until like day 5.
Oh, that's so good, man. I'm just learning some more and more shit about fucking Burning Man. It's exciting. It's like that's something you want to be a part of, because it's an experience. It's not just you're going to get blacked out. You're not going to get fucked up. EDC, the way you prep is like, what kind of drugs are you going to get? And everybody kind of coordinates that. This is like, how are you going to live for the next 7 to 10 days? What are you going to contribute to the community?
Yeah.
How are you going to clean up after yourself? How are you going to keep your body from fucking deteriorating? Like, that's another level.
Yeah, and it requires a whole extra level of collaboration, you know, not just
totally.
inside your camp, but like, you know, between camps, there's also a high level of like interconnectedness.
Cohesiveness. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to, and like, you know, like we have a great relation. Our neighbors are Icarus and Dusty Rhino. You know, we have great relations with.
Is
both
it
of
the
them.
same spot you guys get every time, like designated, or you guys kind of plan it at like,
No,
hey, we're
very
gonna link up and kind of?
Very similar spots. The placement, I think we were one street over than the year before.
Got it.
But yeah, we kind of up on the 10 o'clock side, like right on the edge of Open Playa.
Got it. Yeah,
Or
I don't
Deep
know
Playa.
that, but
Yeah,
I'll
and
take your
then
word for it.
yeah, and so you know we have great relations with the camps all around us. Like, you know, I remember at one point like we were really struggling. We didn't have like, you know, the breakout boxes for the generators that we needed.
Oh, okay.
You know, we went to another camp and, you know, at first the guy was kind of giving me attitude. I like, you know, it was during setup week and I kind of went into his trailer and he's like, oh, what do you want? I was like,
Sure.
oh, like I'm from Nuts Camp. Like, he's like, oh, you're from Nuts Camp? Like, what do you guys need?
Got it.
You know, and like, because we've been going there all this time
Right.
and building
The
the
brand, yeah.
building
They
the
kinda-
relationship with other people, it's like everybody wants to take care of us and help
Yeah.
us out.
Yeah. Do you think it's like just based on that? Is it hard to be a new camp there? Like, do you have to? Is it like a whole nother process? Like, I'm sure if you're a vet, like it's kind of more fluid. You're kind of the way you come in and set up and the way the paperwork works or the tickets. Is there like a full heavy vetting process of like who they'll allow to come set up, or can anyone come and set up a camp?
I think anybody can theoretically register a camp. I mean, you have to kind of pitch what your contribution is from your camp, and you know, it has to be accepted. But anybody can apply.
Got it.
But the big thing is placement is you know,
Okay.
very competitive.
So people come in early to try to get like a specific spot, or is it just when you get there? You just,
No, the placement's done like months ahead of time. and,
they
like,
set it up for you.
Yeah.
They designate where you're going to be.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I mean, you know, that's, and when there's a lot of factors that go into that, it's like, you know, how many people are coming to your camp every year, what you're building. They look at like the condition that you leave the land in afterwards. They put out like a map of like, they put out this big map of the playa with like red, yellow, and green for every plot that camps are spotted on, and then they put out like, it's called like the moot map, and like you have to be green to like keep your
that's
same
right.
placement.
That's
But
right.
if,
That's
if
right.
you get like yellow, like you're gonna like probably get, you know, moved
Moved
to like
back.
a less ideal
For sure.
location, and then if you get red, like there's a chance that you won't get invited back.
Yeah, I was reading an article. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't even want to name the name of the camp, even if I would remember. But they were in the red because of because I know it's very big on like a no trace leave. Like you don't leave a trace when you leave, and they were a camp that consistently did not do that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the article. And again, I wouldn't even drop the name even if I did for the sake of, you know,
Yeah.
just to not do that. But yeah, like that's not the place to do that. Like that's not the place that you want to go in and trash.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you know, even after we had our whole cleanup done and like our whole crew left, like, you know, a few of us stayed behind and we just combed through the entire grid with rakes.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's like we're finding like, you know, like little pieces of fur, like individual
Yeah,
sequins
yeah.
that have fallen off jackets. Literally any of those little things, like, you know, it sticks out like a sore thumb
Yeah,
because
totally.
because there's no trash anywhere.
Yeah, so you have your little plot. You guys are going to do what you can to get that down to a T. That way you
Yeah.
get invited back.
Yeah, but we also kind of have to, you know, you have to keep accountability on your neighbors too, because if your
Oh,
neighbors
that's
leave
true.
some trash and the wind blows, it could end up on your
Ooh.
spot.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, there was one camp that had like 200 bikes ditched there. I won't say the
What?
name, but yeah, it was a whole
200
Yeah, they got in a
bikes?
lot of trouble.
Yeah, of course. How the fuck do
Yeah.
you, like, how did, whose job is it now to, like, have to clean up after your shit
Yeah.
and get all that fucking heavy metal out?
Yeah. Well, so it wasn't actually from the camp itself. It was like from people coming and partying there and locking their bikes up, and
Got
then
it.
they couldn't get the locks off the bike, so the camp just decided to like leave it behind. And they got in a lot of trouble. I think they lost their placement.
Damn.
But yeah, so there's a lot of politics that go into that. It's not
Yeah.
as politics as much as like just
Yeah, I
kind
get what you're
of
saying.
inner workings of it that you don't think about.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of shit that you probably don't think about, a lot of things behind the scenes that you don't see. I mean, us, for example, trying to host like our parties and set up mini tours like this, and then you got I mean, I don't want to say it's like a corporation, but for someone to like plot out who's going to be where in a city,
Yeah.
that's like, I mean, that's
Yeah, it's
like
a massive organization.
Yeah.
They have like a full-time staff up in SF, like, you know. it's
just
like
Burning Man. I mean, yeah, that's going to take a whole year to set up properly and a whole year to figure out. I mean, I think it's going to take like a couple months to close once everything's done and they get all the paperwork and they kind of go over the numbers and finish everything, and they're already setting up for the next year. Jesus Christ.
It's wild.
That's
but it's
insane.
Like unlike anything I've ever experienced.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Everything I've heard, I mean, you can't talk like this and you can't say these kind of things about Coachella. You can't say that about Dirty Bird or EDC or any other festival probably in the world other than Burning Man.
Yeah.
Well, now I have to go.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. Like, it sounds too much of like a anything goes, I guess, dream world kind of thing where it's not what you would expect.
Yeah, it really is. And like anything you could think of that you want to do out there, like not only will people be like, short of like, you know, causing violence towards other people, but like, you know, within reason, like anything you want to do, not only will they be accepting, but people will be stoked on it.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's something new.
Yeah, you want to do some weird experimental stuff that people won't appreciate in the city. Like, there's the place to do it.
So it sounds like the way to go, like starting off, is to join a camp, to be a part of a camp, kind of get the feeler for it, and then go from there. Yeah, because I know with our collective, like I know Mikey Fam and Narek and their girls are gonna go to Burning Man this year. Yeah, you know, I think with us, I think they're already in talks with EJAG. So for me, I think it's just too short notice. So I'm gonna kind of like have them do it. Obviously, we're gonna be with them like the whole year, and next year, hopefully, we can join you guys too. Yeah,
you guys are all welcome. Yes, of course.
That would be fucking awesome, and we'll do what we can. Obviously, I'll come early and clean. But the thing is, like that 2 weeks, I don't want to go for like 4 days and 5 years. I mean, if you're gonna go, like for me personally, like I want to experience the longevity of it and see how you do it properly. Yeah, and it evolves kind of throughout the week. It's like, you know, earlier in the week, it's a lot more workshops and like kind of chill and low key things, and then, you know, a lot of the things that are like open to the public and having like events every day are like closed down on the weekend, and the weekend is more of like just a party vibe. Interesting. Yeah. I still don't get it, kind of, but I get it at the same time. Like that, it's crazy. And I thought I had like seen everything, and it came to be like Thursday night, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, but like I can't imagine this being any different. Yeah. And then the weekend rolled around, and like a lot of the camps that were like serving food and, you know, things like that were all like closing down, and like everybody was just concentrated on like, okay, now we're gonna like get fucking wild. Got it. And go to the dildos. Yeah, and like, you know, on like the night of the man burn, like every single person on the playa is out in the middle. Damn. Yeah. That's a lot of people. Yeah, everybody brings all their art cars, and they all just like post up all together. What does that even look, dude? That's like a movie. Like, how have they not incorporated any form of Burning Man into a movie? Yeah, well, you're not really allowed to film stuff for any like commercial purposes out there. Got it. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, even including like shooting for like product advertisements. I mean, some people do, like, you have some of these like Instagram models coming out and like doing clothing shoots, but like it's very much frowned upon, and interesting. It's supposed to be like a completely uncommercial zone. Yeah. But it's funny. We got some friends that have an art car, and like they spent an entire day on the playa, like taking their art car up and like photobombing Instagram models, like doing product shoots, and then and then schooling them on like why that's not okay. Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, maybe they need it. They a lot definitely of them, do. Yeah, they go and they. I mean, you go there and you want to kind of capture the experience, but I think like doing it here is way more important than just getting it on your phone or getting a photo for it. Like that's not the point of it. Yeah, I mean, it's okay if you want to like take a photo to like, you know, remember the event, but like going there to create an ad is like very much not allowed. I wonder. I mean, that's like I guess it kind of keeps the sanctity of Burning Man by not making it something crazy. I mean, I wouldn't even say that it's something that's crazy commercial, because the people that go know what the fuck they're getting into, and if it were to be commercial, there'd be a lot of people not organized and not ready for it. So I guess they're kind of know what they're doing. Yeah, and it's like very much like a values-based community. You know, like 10 principles, like that's like the same as the 10 commandments. Got it. So it has its own 10 commandments, 10 principles. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like leave no trace, like inclusion, radical inclusion, free expression, you know, civic responsibility, decommodification. You know, there's a whole. Nice. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's definitely something. I have to go to it. Yeah, I've heard way too many good things. I mean, obviously it's not easy. Yeah. But what's easy is not always worth it. Exactly. So. Yeah, and it's not just a party. Like, you know, it's so much more than that, and it'll really philosophically change you. Yeah. Tight, man. Well, that's happening for sure. Yeah. So we'll be in touch with you, EJAGs, if you're watching. Shout out. Nothing but good things, man. Nothing but good vibes always. Speaking of parties and local stuff, bringing it back home, what do we got coming up for you?
So I'll be playing at Genius Loki next weekend.
That's right. Oh, damn, that's next weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Already. Fuck.
Yeah, it's my first festival booking, so I'm really excited
Awesome.
about it.
Congrats. Genius, have you been to Genius Loki before? You're going to love it, man. We went last year.
Did you?
Yeah. We went for my birthday because it's around the same time.
Oh, nice.
And it's such a good time. I mean, our buddies like Henry Pope and Masio and those dudes, like they host a party, and it's full beach party. The music's good. The food vendors are good. You get to take a trip down to Mexico. You drive through Ensenada. It's like you drive through like a really cultural village to get to the festival itself. And a lot of times you'll see, I think they have it to where the people in that village can come into the festival for free, or I don't know, they have like something that goes with them. And so you'll see like local kids from like Ensenada down on the beach partying with you.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love yoga and I love surfing. I don't know too much like what else to expect, but I've heard great things.
Yeah, I mean the surfing happens from what I remember like super early in the morning. So I think they provide wetsuits and boards and everything, and I think so.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they provide everything, because we went last year with with like our crew, and I don't think Jess, who was in our camp, she went surfing, and I don't think she had any of the stuff with her. So I think they have it there for you. But yeah, you go early, you get to surf. For us, it was just because Stefan was on the lineup, so
Oh, that's right.
yeah, he played on the beach, which is like a broken down half of a pirate ship kind of thing. It's fucking rad. It's really cool. So we went early, and it was just full beach party vibe. Like you get to swim, lay out on the beach, drink, eat, listen to music. It was a fucking great time.
Oh, that sounds wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got there's like a couple from our burn camp that's getting married in next month.
No way.
So they're doing actually like a joint bachelor and bachelorette party at Genius Loki.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. They're gonna love it for sure.
Yeah. So like Friday night, like there's like a 3-hour block where like all the guys are hitting the main stage together, and then Saturday night there's a 3-hour block where like all the girls.
Oh, that's
and then
so
the others,
cool.
like aren't allowed to go.
Yeah. I mean, bachelor party, bachelorette party, they kind of keep it separate.
Keep
That's
it separate,
awesome,
and then
man.
there'll be like
That's a
cool
good
stuff
time.
hanging out at camp. Yeah. So
Are they gonna do it like during the day or at night?
at night.
Okay. I was gonna say if they did do it during the day, whoever's having that party should be at the beach. That's where the party's at. The main stage is cool, but for the beach is way more. I mean, for us, I feel like, and there's an after-hour spot, which is like right on the top of a cliff overlooking like the ocean. I never made it to that. I was always asleep by the time that I was just whatever. My day wasn't planned accordingly to stay up all night. But yeah, the after-hour spot, I forget the name of it. Whatever it was, it's like you walk up the mountain to the edge of the cliff, and there's a stage, and the DJ's like back is towards like the edge of the cliff. It's fucking rad. It's a good time, man. So yeah, just be safe and have a good time. I mean, the area you go to, it's not always like the safest. So, and a few of our friends are going to be on that lineup too. I mean, I know it's you, Jamie, Alyssa, Ray Cash,
I think there's a couple more.
Louis Miranda, even all those people that host it. So that's awesome. That's gonna be a good time.
Jax is playing on there too.
It is. Oh, that's right. I think I saw it. Nice.
Yeah, I think there's a couple others.
There's a couple others for sure.
I recognized a lot of faces.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a very local, homie collective type show, which is, I mean, they're doing it in fucking Mexico, and it's at a festival level. So good for them. Good for you. Congrats on the booking. And I know are you on the Boom Boom Rooms?
Yeah.
Summer festival?
Really looking forward to that. Like, apart from my own parties, I'd say,
right.
like, because that's my bias, but like,
of course.
they're one of my favorite parties in the scene.
Yeah.
I've only been to one of their events, but when I walked in, it was just what I witnessed was pure magic.
Mm-hmm. Which one was it? The one that was at the?
It's the last one.
What's that spot called?
Awawasia.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, they've been buzzing a little bit, and like people have been talking about the party, so I was very curious. I knew they were pulling out big numbers, but just the energy in that room was wild.
Nice. Yeah, I remember
people
that.
dressed up in costumes,
Yeah.
and with the vendors and the artists, and like they put so much into production.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, they're great. They're great dudes. I mean, they always like invite us out to their stuff, and we try to bring them out. So they're a good group of people that are hosting it.
Yeah, it was great, and I'd been curious. I was like, I hadn't really met many of them, before, but. Yeah, I actually ended up, my friend invited me to come to some after party like that same night at like 7 in the morning.
The upcoming night for the Boom Boom Room? For the last one.
And and so I had my stick with me because I had played a Sunrise Set at Incognito that night. And
another good group of people.
Yeah, so I rolled into this apartment. It was like 50 people in an apartment, but it was all the artists and the crew.
Industry head.
Yeah, from that had all been just coming there straight from Boom Boom Room. And I ended up like, somebody was DJing, and then I was like, oh, can I like hop on back to back with you? And then you know, we played a couple and he stopped, and then I ended up playing like a 4-hour set for them.
Yeah. He's like, all right, cool, you got it.
Yeah, and
See you later.
like, yeah, and the whole crew, they were super stoked on it. And then afterwards, they're like, yeah, dude, like, we want you to play at our next party. Like, you crushed it. So
Yeah.
it was a very weird, like, kind of chance happening that I stumbled into that party, but
everything happens for a reason, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's fucking great. I'm glad to hear you're doing better. I fucking love what you guys are doing with Understated. You guys are our boys. You guys know that. So
Likewise.
keep it going. Keep the good fight going. Stay healthy. Stay focused. And we'll fucking see what you guys do. Anything else you want to shout out? Where can everybody find you on social? Or?
You can find my stuff is Micah Smith LA. That's MICAH. And then all the crew stuff is all Understated LA.
Understated LA, Understated Recordings.
Yeah, Understated Recordings as well.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, man. It was great having you.
Likewise.
And we'll see you at the next show. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Ciao.